There is only a single road that leads to the town of Jacob's Landing, which is considered to be an isolated hive of poor white trash by its neighbors, and honestly, most Americans would probably describe it as such. It lies at the far end of South Fork Road, this narrow trail that remained unpaved until probably the last 10 years or so. Now, if you want a mental image of this community, then picture any poor industrial town in either Ohio or West Virginia, place it on the coast, and make it smell like rotting fish. All right, you get the idea. And I'm not saying this to be rude. I still call the place home. But I'm honest about where I live. And I feel that this is much needed context to explain the atmosphere in which this story occurs. Growing up, there were always stories us kids would tell each other about the thing with too many eyes that lived in the woods, or the old lady so-and-so who was a witch. But one was the favorite of the local gossip circles, and that was the story of the silent patrol car. As the story went, sometime between 1960 and 1980, a sheriff's deputy, who may have been named Hank. I mean, if you go by the version my older brother tormented me with as a boy. Sometimes the name is changed to Bill or James. These were also favorite names, but that depended on who was telling the story. The name, it really doesn't matter. Whoever he was, what's important is that this young man was assigned to a speed trap along South Fork Road during this dark and misty night. Now, around midnight, a car came shooting down the road like a bat out of hell, and Deputy Hank peeled out after him. From here, the story as kids told would veer into an exciting car chase that was stolen from whatever movie we had seen most recently, and it was entirely divorced from the local geography. But it always ended the same. Deputy Hank going off the road and smashing into a particular crooked old tree just outside of town. And the legend, it went like this. To this day, between midnight and sunrise, anyone who broke the law on South Fork Road would find a patrol car appearing behind them from out of the mist. It would chase you down, all the while making no sound at all, until you either went off the road yourself or made it past the tree where the story claimed he met his grisly end. Now, for 47 years, I have lived here, and I've never believed a single one of those silly stories that I heard as a child. But after what just happened, I'm convinced that this one is true. Last night, I was in Whisper Bay. It's this biggish town a bit north of here, and I was attending a Memorial Day party at an old friend's house. As I was leaving, he ran up alongside my car and warned me that my right tail light was out, and to watch out for cops as I drove home. I swore at the inconvenience, thanked him, and began the drive. I took back roads through an area we used to call Mud Hill and turned south onto South Fork Road. I had been driving for maybe half a mile when this enormous buck stepped out in front of me, and I had to slam on the brakes. It stopped the way that a deer would stop, and I swear it looked at me as if I were the suicidal maniac and not the damned kamikaze animal in front of me. That's when I noticed the flashing lights in my rear view mirror. Well, isn't that wonderful? I thought to myself. Not wanting to block the road, I pulled ahead and off to the side, where I was waiting for the cop to give me a hard time about the taillight. But as the lights grew closer, I realized they were not slowing down. My first thought was maybe he's responding to an emergency in town, and either didn't know or care about my broken taillight. But it soon became clear that he was heading right for me and still not slowing down. I slammed on the gas, thanking God I hadn't turned off the engine. But it wasn't enough as the grill of the old patrol car slammed hard into the back of my truck, jarring my head forward into the steering wheel with a sharp knock. It left blood dripping down my face from a small cut above my eyebrow. The first thoughts that went through my mind, after I could think at all, were, of course, the officer must have had some kind of medical emergency behind the wheel and needed help. But as I looked back at the cop, he was already backing up. And something came over me that I can't explain. It was some animal part of my brain, some hunter's instinct from our mammoth-killing days that told me to run. And when there was no doubt that the car was lining up to make another run at me, that's exactly what I did. I hit 80 as fast as I could, and that old patrol car was matching my speed exactly. It was then that I realized I could only hear the roar of my own engine, and not the V8 growl of his. The story of the silent patrol car came flooding back to me from its childhood tomb, and it pushed my needle even farther into the red, as red blood flowed thicker now into my eye, half blinding me as I raced down the road. I was going 100 by the time I could see the lights of town through the trees, and I had no plans on stopping. That gnarled old tree that had killed its fair share of drunks over the years was rushing up on me, and honestly, I didn't care if I made it past or just died in the attempt. Now, as I write this in hindsight, with an ice pack on my head and a cigarette in my hand, I find it hard to believe what happened to me. I want to rationalize this. I really do. I try to. But I can't. I know what I saw, and I know I'm not crazy. When I shot past the tree and onto Main Street like a bullet, I watched in the rearview mirror as the patrol car behind me, never slowing, reached the tree, and then, like the flick of a light switch, it was gone. One moment, there, the next, there was nothing but a straight, empty blacktop behind me for as far as the eye could see. I never slowed down until I screamed up my driveway and stumbled blindly into my bathroom to puke. But when, with shaking hands, I reached for the lighter in my pocket, instead I found this crumpled up old sheet of yellow paper. It was a speeding ticket, and it was dated 1974. So now I warn you, whomever and wherever you might be, please don't disregard those stories that you heard as a child. Most of them probably are nonsense. And in your case, I pray that they all are. But let what happened to me stand as a warning that they're not all fiction. Some, they're corruptions of explainable events, for sure. And others, they're fables that are meant to teach some kind of lesson. But somewhere out there in the night, there are a few that are nothing but the unvarnished truth. So, drive safe, my friends. What an absolutely amazing story, wasn't it? I had so much fun reading the story initially and then narrating it and bringing it to life for you guys. It was a blast. And I would like to thank from the bottom of my heart the author of tonight's story, ThatAuldFool, for giving me the chance to bring it to life. I really encourage you guys to check out the show notes and go see the original Reddit post. Please give this author some much deserved love. Well, the cat, it's very clearly out of the bag. I finally got a webcam for this channel, and let me tell you, I am so very excited. I plan on making a lot of use of this moving forward, but for tonight, I just wanted to pop in and say hi. I'm keeping it short and sweet for y'all. So, if you guys enjoyed this story as much as I did, and you liked what you heard, please don't be shy. Give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me get a better sense of what you guys like to see, and I can better tailor my content towards that. So, with that, my friends, I bid you adieu. Goodbye and good night.
Uncle Mac, let me, I want to